running, not
There's still time, Bill.
no, there's not.
Good morning, Bill. How are you doing?
Okay, thanks. It's lovely to talk to you both. It's another bright
Good.
Friday. I look forward to these little chats. I try not to talk too much today, I promise you.
Hey, I don't mind at all. You are the font of all knowledge, particularly when it comes to cricket, which I'll be honest, and I've been honest about this from the outset, from 2 seasons ago when I first started doing the sports show. Cricket is the sport that I know least about, Bill. So the fact that you've got all this knowledge does me a great help. So thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know knowledge is the right word, Tom. I love cricket. I played till I was 57, 58. The beauty of Pembrokeshire cricket, I played my time in Division 1. I played a bit before that in Division 2. I played 3, 4, and when I got to 5, I said, right, it's time to go. But it's great because I was playing then with others of my age and young kids who were coming on that we could help. And if you look at Pembrokeshire cricket now, the number of kids, there's a young fella called Liam Miller in Hook, I got to highlight. 172 or 3 or 4 not out on Saturday.
Wow.
70 last night in the Harrison Allen in 42 balls. He's blinking 16.
Good God.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And you mentioned that the weather's lovely for this Friday morning, but there's people out on cricket ovals last night. The weather's been so nice.
There's been a whole series of Harrison Allen games this week, Tom and Ewan, which is a little later than normal because the thinking behind it is the nights are longer. There's 22 overs, so they're not risking playing in at dusk. So, I'll go with that. But there's a lot of sport. Other than that, of course, golf, bowls. I watched a bit of bowls this week. That was a joy in its own way, interviewing someone. And you look at what's going on around the country, the athletics. By God, we got some talented athletes,
Yeah. No, we really do. So go on then, Bill. Well, what happened last night in the cricket?
Well, last night in the cricket, the 3 games went very much to form. 8 first round games. They go into the draw for the second round. Johnson had 92 for 3 against Nayland, and one of the former Nayland players, young Callum Power, he plays for the Welsh disability team. He had 53 not out. Now I can tell you, Cal enjoyed that against his old teammates.
I bet.
Nayland got 96 for naught. Paul Murray 58 not out. Big Money Minty as they call him. He had tons there. I have to give a shout out to Huntledon. They were playing at Criselli. Now that really is a David and Goliath clash. Criselli's got 229 for 4 with Matthew Morgan getting 69. Alex Bailey 64 and Skipper Ewan is at 56. Huntledon got 168 for 4. Now, that's a clear defeat. But I thought they'd be all out for 60 or 70. Ben Adams had 72. Right. And John Williams had 41. He'd have enjoyed that if his brother Philip was playing for Criselli. So, so an interesting game there. And the aforementioned Mr. Miller, 74 in 42 balls, held Hook to 209 for 9. And they beat Pembroke 120 for 9. And Callum James took 5 for 25 for Hook as well. He's having a good time as a bowler. So they were the games that were played last night. If you wanted just a quick resume of the earlier games in the week, I can give you those as well.
Yeah, go on, please. Go on, then. Let's do it.
Narberth went to Llechryd and smashed them. 223 for 5. Richie Adams 52. Now someone told me a bit wickedly that Richie, he's not getting any younger, retired because it was too hot, but he retired 52. That let Kyle Quartermain come in, the captain. He smashed 65. Ben Hughes then took 4 for 8. Llechryd all out for 74. Sam Franklin batted well for Saundersfoot as they beat Lamfield by 6 wickets. Neil Powling had 4 for 15 as well. Neil's just taken up umpiring.
Is he? Really fantastic.
Yeah, he's doing midweek games. He's a good guy. He's from the Powling family in Tenby. It's a bit poacher turned gamekeeper. Mind, he knows all the tricks, so he'll be so well done, Pose. Criselli, Crimmock 75 all out against Kilgetty, 76 for 2. Anthony Bevan, he's a spin bowler for Kilgetty. People hate playing spinners in Pembrokeshire, 5 for 11. And last but not least, I saw a bit of this. How Mighty Have Fallen. Haverfordwest, 125 for 6. Ben Adams had, come back to that. Steve Williams, who was an ex-policeman who played rugby for Haverfordwest with distinction. He's playing for the Force normally now alongside his boys. That's the beauty of local cricket again. Stepped up to help the first team, scored 56 not out. Langham 128 for 1. Phil Llewellyn, interesting, he scored 56 not out for Langham, having returned from St. Ishmael's. And this weekend, of course, who do Langham play? St. Ishmael's. So
that's going to be interesting then, Bill.
Yeah. So that's a brief, not too, perhaps I said too much, but Harris and Allen first round games. Next week are the second round games. So.
Okay.
Brilliant. And you just mentioned they're turning to umpiring. The cricket club, the Pembroke Cricket Club, would love more people to come forward if they're available.
Desperate, I think, is the right word, Tom. In all seriousness, they're desperate. I mean, I umpired when I finished cricket. I umpired. The only reason I stopped was because Gordon and I do the website. We had enough on a Saturday evening, and sometimes games were finishing very late. It's the second best thing to play in. There's no doubt about that. But at the moment, there's an average of 8, 9, or 10 umpires every week. So they're only covering the first division. Now, when I was doing it then, you can't go back with rose-tinted spectacles, but they were probably 20 odd. So all the first and second division games covered. If you haven't played, you wouldn't understand perhaps the need. There's nothing worse than going along to play cricket Saturday afternoon and spending half your time as an umpire. You want to play and have a walk around the boundary.
Yeah.
I was telling some Nayland boys off last night because they were walking around playing bull as the marker flags around. It's great. I had to give them a little dig and say, in my time, the captain would have said, "Oi, get back over you with the team there, Alan. And if you want to play ball, But it's a desperate situation. And, what can we say other than for some players, they play too long. But if they stop playing, put a bit back in and do a bit of umpiring. The classic case last night, Steve James was scoring for Johnson boys. And I can tell you, if he's not scoring on a Saturday, he can't play anymore. His legs are gone, like a lot of us, poor old Jamer. He umpires every one of their games. Now, that's outside the first and second division, so they've got an umpire. They're very lucky. But there's nothing worse than, say, in the second division. It's quite serious cricket. When your decisions depend on someone who's playing in the blinking game.
Of course.
It's no balance to it. And it always leaves a feeling, as far as I was concerned, boys, I was never out LBW in my life.
No.
The umpires thought differently.
But
he thought so.
But if an umpire gave you out an accredited umpire, you walked. If someone from the other team, you walk off thinking, I've been done there.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very valid point. And if people are interested, where's the best place for them to go if they do? You know what? I'll give it a year or two, because that's as long as you got a turnover, that's all you need.
Yes, the pathway is very simple. They contact the league secretary, Steve Blows, who does a great job, the county club secretary. They could contact any committee member of the Pembroke County Cricket Club, and they'd be welcomed with open arms. They get a very, very good training program, which is great fun as well as informative over several weeks or weekends. And they come out. Trevor Evans does a great job with that. For example, Richard Merriman is involved in that. And in the end, you come out as a qualified umpire and you can put a bit back into your game. It's great.
Yeah. Do it is the message here, and actually help that first division, because it is high standard cricket. We know this because we've had clubs go all the way in the Village Cup and they're representing the whole of the county of Pembrokeshire and Wales in competitions. So let's keep that standard high.
Yeah, we punch well above our weight with that.
So we've just been talking about the Harris and Allen, but the Allen Brown Cup's also been going on, and we've got the semi-final draw. It feels strange talking about semi-finals already. The cricket season's over in a flash. Like, it feels that way.
Yeah, that's because there's so few teams, to be frank, in the Allen Brown competition. Now, it was set up originally. Allen Brown had been an umpire many, many years ago.
Right.
When he passed away, his family, who are no longer in the area, donated a cup to the Umpires Association. And it was used as a quiz for quiz programs and things like that. And in the end, some bright spark had the idea, why not have our own cricket competition? And it became almost the poor man's Harris and Allen final, where it was played for teams below division, first teams are in Division 4 or lower. And they started at Hook. The welcome they've had over many years at Burton now, gents, at Whitland has been beyond belief. It is a splendid day out. It really is a great day for those teams. sadly, there aren't all that many teams who've qualified now. They amended it slightly, but it means there are only 7 teams eligible this year. Crimmock had a draw. The other 3 games then, as you say, we had those early this week, and that takes those 3 teams into the semi-final with Crimmock. So it's for those boys. I can tell you. You ask Fraser Watson, he's played in it. Not very well,
Right.
but he played in it. Got to be honest. No, Fraser's improving as a cricketer, let me tell you.
Glad to hear it.
I'll read a few words because he scored 100 now and I didn't in the league. So,
there you go.
yeah, well, I've had to eat a bit of humble pie with that. Not directly to him, of course.
No.
No. But in Alan Brown this week, Lamfield 94 for 8. They lost to Pembroke 95 for 1. Jack Harris, the inform Pembroke skipper, had 42 there, not out. Larne 111 for 8. Scott Delaney had 3 for 20 for Fishguard, who are improving, taking giant strides under Nigel Delaney. That's his boy, Scott. Yeah. Fishguard got 113 for 4. Nigel had 33, and an interesting scoreline there. You boys won't. It won't mean anything to you. Hugh Evans 22. Now Hugh Evans was one of the most gifted cricketers to play in this county and leave and play up the line and play very well. He's never short an opinion in rugby or cricket. Is our policeman friend, Mr. Hugh Evans. Right. But him playing back in Fishguard is huge because he'll be a real asset to there. And I tell you what, he'll have some runs this year, although he's well past his sell-by date. Let me tell you. Evs talks a good game, but he plays a good game as well. So that's worth thinking about. And
that's what counts.
A little shock then. Huntledon, who showed what they were like against Cresselly last night. They scored 166 for 6. John Williams, 33. Craig Williamson, 44. And they beat Stackpool by about 4 or 5 runs. I'm still not sure. But they lost. And Stackpool, one of my old teams, would have been expected to win that. So, well done. So that's why there's so few games, but they're now in the semi-finals. If you ever got a chance and you've got a Sunday when that's on, you come along there. A, you'll enjoy a massive tea, which is one of the best ever. And I know.
Nice.
Cake. But B, it is a great camaraderie and 2 innings each. It's played under Harrison Allen rules.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Oh, that sounds great. And you mentioned Whitland there. And one thing that I put on our website just yesterday, on the 23rd of July, so date for your diary, they've got Rob Benji 20x20 memorial match, which is going to be a Whitland Cricket Club versus a Mike Phillips 11.
Look out.
So it's something to look forward to there as well.
I imagine that people will turn up in droves for that because Benji, as everyone called him, Rob Benjamin, and his partner Anne-Marie Jenkins are very much part. Anne-Marie's still scoring for the first team again now, which is lovely. They're very much fundamental to cricket and rugby in Hendy Gwyn, and people will turn out for that. When we did a feature on our website, Gordon and I, a little tribute to Rob, that's the most hits we've ever had in one article. I can tell you that.
Wow.
And it shows that shows. Oh, sorry, Bill. I'm just talking over you.
We're talking in thousands and thousands. Yeah.
Wow, and it shows how integral sport can be in a community, doesn't it? Like we've got Ewan here and your Scarlets, Top, Leslie throughout the decades.
Yeah,
they've been integral to the foundation of that community. It's we see it on a local level then with our crickets and our rugby clubs and our football clubs as well. It really is fantastic.
Yeah, like Bill was saying as well. I mean, in terms of Whitland, I mean, you've got. Talking rugby, you've got players connected with Whitland. You've got your Mike Phillips, we've just been talking about, John Fox Davis, James Cubby Davis, and plenty of others who've kind of played for Whitland, but still have that affiliation, which is great, and it brings the community back together again.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
If you go to Whitland to Park Lundy Gwyn and watch a game, and one of those is there, they're part of the boys. They're not a celebrity. Cubby in particular, who's one of my favourite rugby players in the world. He is such a genuine guy, and they all are, but they're part of the community. They're part of the boys.
Totally agree.
It's lovely to see. It's nice to see, Tom, that Ewan is wearing an out-of-date Scarlets shirt.
It's a classic, Bill. It's a classic.
Yeah, it needs to be updated a bit like the club, perhaps. I just say it.
Yeah. I think we know where we're going with that, Bill. We know where we're going. Yeah.
He's put it in. And Bill, we've been following the ladies' cricket, and in particular this new county ladies team. However, there was an agreed postponement.
Yeah, there was, because both teams had players who would normally be a part of the backbone. It makes sense in the early stages. They've got plenty of time to play the games. What you don't want is one team being dramatically weakened. They're all starting out now. Some are more experienced than others, but they're back in action this week. They're playing Newport on Sunday, and that game takes place at Kilgetty at 12 noon. And I hope people will go along and watch that as well. Sam Roster is back playing. She got injured. She's going to play. She's been to physio and things. And Sam gives us the ladies' cricket scores every week, gents. And she does a great job with that. I'll give you those very quickly if you like this week. Division 1. Yeah. Criselli 140 for 1, beat Haverfordwest 55 all out. That's a big surprise that Haverfordwest only scored that much. Hook 112 for 3. Lost to their near neighbours and rivals, Burton 113 for 1, and Whitland 130 for 6, beat Pembroke Dock 72 all out. Division 2, then I explained, they play under the kids' rules because they're very much developing teams.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And they start with a score of 200, and the emphasis is on not losing wickets, batting correctly. You lose runs if you get out. You have 4 overs each. So it's good. And in that, Carew 257 for 8, beat Pembroke 255 for 8. Good close game there.
Yeah.
And St. Ishmael's 294 for 2, beat Nayland 268 for 8. I was talking to some of the Nayland lady players, girl players, I nearly said then. They're all girls to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're so enthusiastic about their cricket. They watch Nayland men regularly, but they're playing now. And they love every blinking second. They still got a lot to learn, but that's great.
Yeah. That's good to keep learning and you keep improving.
Too right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know that it's the 2nd of June and we've got temperatures in the low 20s at the moment, but we're going to have to turn our attention to some winter sports already. It feels like we've only just closed the book on them. And yet, this, am I going to call it controversy? I'm going to throw it out there. You can make your own opinion. But this broke a week ago. And it's now been confirmed, particularly for Pembroke RFC, who have gone down. Is it two whole divisions or three? Yeah. They're now going to be playing in Division 3 West A, which in my I know Bill, I know that you love Division 3 West A. I love Division 3 West A. It was already a bit of a 2-tiered division. There was some performers that were very well performing, and there were like the lower successful teams. I don't know what the best way to put it, because they're so they're fantastic teams anyway. Yeah. But to have a club drop down 2 divisions into that is going to just, I don't know. What's the sense that you're getting, Bill?
Well, my sympathies go with Pembroke in the first instance, because the last 2 years they should have been relegated. And because the stupid Welsh Rugby Union officials who say, no relegation during COVID. But hey, boys, COVID's finished. Now there's no relegation because they're going to reorganise. When? So Pembroke have been in a situation for 2 years. They've been hammered. Right? Merciless, hammered by teams from up the line.
Yeah.
They asked for relegation last year and they were refused. They've asked for it this year, and they've asked for 2 divisions. I think they've promoted the idea it's bad for their players' health and their mental health. And it's a strong case. And at first I was in favour of the move, but the more I think about it, the more I see the dangers. And the big danger is they've been moved down 2 divisions. If all their players come back next year, they'll be too strong for Division 3 West A. And if they win that division and smash every team there, what's going to happen? If they have promotion, then are they going to get promoted, or are they going to say, well, look, it's too early for us? And I can tell you, Fraser Watson's team, St. David's, are incandescent. Nayland are incandescent. Langham, your nephew plays there. These clubs have had to battle through torment for years, where St. David's didn't win a game for years. They still played. They fulfilled every fixture. Jack Dudley made sure of that.
Yeah.
I think the wise thing would be to move them down 1, if I'm honest.
Right, okay.
You can have Fraser on Monday about it. And I suspect he might even say they should have just taken their chance. Get on with it next year, start again. I know it's caused a huge debate in the club. Geraint Lewis has stepped down as coach and a very influential coach. I haven't spoken to Geraint, so I can't comment about that other than to say they'll miss him.
Right.
But it's another area where the Welsh Rugby Union have made a decision. The other thing that you won't know and what not many know, as far as I understand, Tregaron are in that division. Now, that's a hell of a trek for every team. But I have a trek for them in their games down here. But they've enjoyed it, right? Now, they found out that they had been moved from 3 Division West A to Division West B. How do you think? A letter explaining from the Welsh Rugby Union or from someone from the Welsh Rugby Union calling to discuss it? What do you think?
I think the answer is no, Bill.
They found out about it on Twitter when the newly formed teams were. No. Tom knows I never used to be critical of organisations, but the WRU, my God, they've got to get their act into gear. If that happened, and if I'm wrong, I'll apologise. If that happened, that's inexcusable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tregaron are a nice little village club. In Mid Wales, and their geographical location makes it hard. Like Aberystwyth had to overcome that for years, and they did it, and they're still doing it. But I just despair. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting start to the season. What reception Pembroke get? Because as you say, they have had a torrid couple of years in the division they were in.
Yeah,
they've essentially given them a green light to fold and start again. But if they got those same players, as you say, that's not a folding club.
No.
And they are experienced players of
Tom,
tough games.
Yeah.
Tom, I'll tell you, Pembroke have one of the best organisational systems in Pembroke. There is no fault in Pembroke at all in what I'm saying. They've got juniors, they've got ladies, they've got a second team, one of the few who run a second team with Clive Rowlands and Simon Edwards. Those boys have done marvels with that. But it's just the way it's worked out over a couple of years. Experienced players, retired, long-term injuries, and they've struggled for players. There's no doubt they've this year won fair to them. That's the Welsh Rugby Union's fault, not Pembroke's. But now the Welsh Rugby Union created a system where we'll have to gowny well, as we say in Wales. Wait and see.
Wait and see. And lastly, Bill, that very quickly, sticking with winter sports on the 2nd of June when the sun is high in the sky. But the Haverford County, they last year, of course, they debuted their You Can Have It All. And season 2 of their online web series is kicking off, and hopefully we're going to have Ryan on the show, on the Pure Sports show of a Monday evening in less than 2 weeks' time, I think, to launch it off. What are you expecting to see in those behind that scenes footage? I think they're calling it "Welcome to Haverfordwest" for their European tour.
Yeah, Gordon and I have featured a few times on that, and it's very nice to be asked. Ryan is a top man. He really is a good guy. He does a lot of good work there, and I know it's appreciated, and we appreciate him as well. You'll enjoy his company. He's a nice lad.
Good.
And it'll be packed with, really interesting stuff. No doubt about that. He's a professional.
He is. Can't wait to hear from Ryan. And well, for that season to kick off, and it's going to finish just before their first European game in over 20 years. It's going to be a good time.
That one was in Reykjavik in Iceland.
Yes.
They're a bit nearer home this time. Blimey.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
And the only chance I've got of going to watch the away game is if they take on a Scottish team, and perhaps Ireland if they let me sneak in with a driver's license.
We'll say nothing.
Yeah. I won't tell if you won't, Bill. And who have you caught up with? Who are we going to hear from on Monday evening?
Very interesting. Very briefly, Nicola Murray, who's well known as an outstanding cricket scorer with Pembroke Dock. She's a very small, petite lady, and out of the blue, she said to me, "I'm not scoring next week, Bill." I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm going on a triathlon." And I'd have thought of with that. She didn't mind me saying that. I told her. And she went, now I'm not sure where it was. You'll have to excuse me this morning, but it was one of these where 750 meter swim, 20 kilometer cycle, and I think 5 kilometer run. But she did that in less than 2 hours. She's now entered for the long course weekend at 10 beat, just a short time ahead. And she's to compete in that. And so matter of fact, it's a joy, and it shows again what sport can be. And I said to her, "You're a great beacon light." I shouldn't say it, perhaps, because we shouldn't say it's a beacon light for women. Lots of women are doing good stuff. But you just think she's just taken that up. She's run all her life. She's been a runner. She was a good sprinter and a good long distance runner in school. But it's amazing. So well done to Nicola. We're talking to John Willington. He said it's not the first time. And I said that's because he's got the face for radio, and his wife had told me the old ones are the best. But last year, if you remember, Tommy, he formulated a Pembrokeshire Vikings youth team, because there's no, nowadays we go to regions, so all the team, all the boys got a push to go up there to play, and it's a huge commitment, not many games, and families put a sort of severe disadvantage on this. So he started. The county have agreed to run a county junior youth team with him as coach, and he's a great character. Will, I played cricket with him. He was a fiery fast bowler. And he's a brilliant coach, so that's nice. And we've spoken to Johnny Bapp-Lewis. Now, I'm not going to tell you why he's called. Well, I will tell you. The story is he fell off a shed roof, hiding from his friend. When he fell, said, "You've got a face like a bap." And that, that was 30 years ago, and he didn't mind people calling him Johnny Bapp. I never called him that. But Johnny Bapp, he hadn't played for 3 years. As he said, he's got a bit too much timber at the moment, and boy, is he right. Definitely got too much timber, and I keep talking to his Uncle Bill about that. But he played Saturday with his boy Dylan in the team as well. He scored 95, got out slogging with 4 balls to go because he's too shattered to run anymore. But I think you'd have been just as pleased that his young son Dylan, who's only 12 or 13, played and bowled and took 0 for 14, had a maiden in his 4 overs. So I'm talking to Johnny Bapp as well, which is I think he's been on once before with Hakin United, because he's secretary there as well.
Okay, fantastic. And that's going to be Monday evening from 7:00. So be sure to tune in and find out what's been going on in the world of sport on a Monday evening. Bill, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill,
for your time on this Friday morning again. And it's Feel Good Friday, Bill, and you know what that means.
I know you think I'm a one-trick pony with pop music. I know that. But it's funny how odd songs attract me, because I can sing along to them. That's my test. And in 1969, a group started out with a strange name of Mott the Hoople. They were glam rock, which I'm not over fussed. One of the worst experiences I ever had in my life going to gigs was when I went to see Slade and Sweet in the Grand Theatre in Swansea.
Wow.
It was so loud, I was going to sue them for damage to my ribs for the breaking my rib cage. I actually went out for a little while and recovered. I couldn't stand anymore. But Mott the Hoople then in 1974, they were really supported by David Bowie, whichever you call him, and they came out with Roll Away the Stone. Now, I put choice. Top 10 with the other 100 that's in a top 10. Yeah. But Mott the Hoople, Roll Away the Stone.
Fantastic. Brilliant. And Bill, you're in the company of someone here who loves a bit of glam rock.
Yes. That's my weekend sorted.
It is. So, Bill, we've got, give it a nice radio introduction. Who have we got on the way?
Sorry, Mott the Hoople, Roll Away the Stone.
Roll Away the Stone. Thank you so much, Bill. I brought it out to Helen Marie and to Denise Dargan as well. Don't forget to get your song requests in as well. But for now, that's been a Pembrokeshire Sports Update with the fabulous Bill Carne. We'll do it all again next week.
I look forward to seeing you both. Take care. Ta-da.
Thank you, Bill.
Feel Good Friday with Pems Paving. Your one-stop shop for